Okay. Hi everybody. Video Rocker 778 here. I've decided I'm gonna become a fanfic reader for YouTube, and this will be my first post to that effect. I'm gonna start with a Kim Possible series that I found about 2 to 3 years ago now, called In the Middle by StarvingLunatic. By the way, thank you again, StarvingLunatic, for allowing me to read your series. I will, once I've got everything settled with this, put links down here in the description so you guys can read the series for yourself and hopefully fall in love with it the same way I did. Alright, so this is the prequel to In the Middle, called Something's Gotta Give, and this is Chapter 1, Prologue. Oh my god, who let this fucking bum in the house? The teenage Isabel hard in irritation, her emerald eyes shone with fire in them as her anger flared like a volcano, violently erupting because of what was happening. The house that Isabel was referring to was where she was currently standing. It was a mansion, close to a palace in her opinion. The vaulted ceilings were white and gold, as was the tiled floor. There were ivory columns around the space that she stood, which was the lobby of the magnificent house, with 2 male actors. A movie was in the process of being shot, and she was trying to choreograph a fight scene. It was her first solo job, and she was trying her best not to screw it up. Thanks to the decided bum walking into the shot, she was fairly certain that she was doing just that. She would never hear the end of things from her mother if she managed to botch things on her first run out on her own. The bum that Isabel was referring to was a young man that seemed to have densely wandered onto the set. He was short, but muscular like a bodybuilder. His short, reddish auburn hair went off in every direction imaginable, as if he had just rolled out of bed and his hair had a mind of its own. His skin had an olive tone to it, and his strange eyes, purple in color, were droopy to the point where it seemed safe to assume that he had just woken up or was intoxicated from something, or any combination of things. He wore a white V-neck t-shirt that had holes in the right armpit, collar, and abdomen. He rubbed his eye with his large hand, seemingly unaware that he had just stepped into a movie set. He also seemed rather unaware of the danger that he was in by angering Isabel. "What the fuck?" Isabel shrieked because of the situation. A deep scarlet rushed up her pale face as tension caused veins to pop in her neck. "Manning!" she hollered loud and heated enough to get the actors that she was supposed to be leading to back away from her. They expected her to burst into flames because of the way her temper ignited. "Damn it," the director of the movie muttered and palmed his face briefly. He happened to be Manny, and he knew that when Isabel said his name like that, it was not good. He actually contemplated pretending like he hadn't heard, but that would only upset her more, which was terrible for business and the well-being of everyone around. Manny turned around from what he was doing, fixing his sporty spectacles to see what had made the temperamental fight choreographer sound like she was going to rip his intestines out. He and the crew definitely would not put such a thing past him. He then spotted the decided bum and trotted over to him. "King, what the hell are you doing here?" Manny inquired with his chocolate features twisted in utter confusion. He was much taller than the bum that he obviously knew. He was skinny, but looked almost as thin as a rail compared to the bum in his thick athletic build. "Trying to get breakfast, but it's pretty damn crowded and loud," Kane answered while glancing over at Isabel. He was 18 years old. His youthful face, though tired, still managed to look vibrant, which was the vibe that he gave off even while exhausted. "And hot," he decided with a grin after giving Isabel the once-over. "Yeah, it's definitely loud and hot." The latter now concerned him much more than the former. Don't even go there, buddy, Manny said when he noticed Kane checking out the raven-haired fight choreographer. Considering the fact that it was kind of warm, even in the air-conditioned house, Isabel was wearing some rather skimpy shorts that showed off her milky, shapely legs that seemed to go on forever. She had on a t-shirt that hugged her torso just right, showing her generous bust size and perfect shape. Her face was nothing short of beautiful, highlighted by usually bright emerald eyes, and crowned off with a flowing river of ebony hair that fell to the small of her back. Yes, Isabel was very hot. Manny would never argue against that. But she was also, well, Isabel. He suspected that the figure, curves, face, and hair of that woman was to make her tolerable enough to be around when a person knew that at any given moment she could lose her amicable demeanor and destroy everyone in the room. Isabel was like a ticking time bomb in his opinion. But she did design one hell of a fight scene, and since she was generally good-natured, he didn't mind being around her most of the time. I gotta go there. What do you think she'd do if I grabbed her ass? Kane wondered aloud with a sleepy but cheeky grin on his face. Yeah, because we both know girls love it when strange men grab their asses, Manny remarked sarcastically with a deadpan expression. She would totally kill you, Kane. And I'm not even talking about a pleasant, wonderful, the pain stops quickly death, he explained as best he could, even though he had a feeling that he would not get through to the auburn-haired teen. Kane shrugged. Some deaths are worth it, he said with a yawn. He rudely just opened his mouth wide as he inhaled deeply, not bothering to cover it at all. You don't want to do that. Trust me, you'll lead a much happier life if you just leave her alone. What are you doing here, anyway? Manny inquired somewhat forcefully, and he hit Kane in his barrel chest with the back of his hand as he posed the question. Wasn't I coming back today? Kane asked curiously. He squinted his eyes and scratched the top of his messy dark red hair, as if bemused by the inquiry. For him, it was obvious that he was back when he said he would be. No, you said next week. You didn't climb any mountains in a week, right? Manny pointed out. Kane's strangely purple eyes widened a little in realization. Oh, excuse me, sorry about that. I changed my mind on that. Ended up going and doing some cliff diving and camping out for a few days. Sorry, I came back early. I'll try not to get in your way. Manny rolled his dark brown eyes, showing his disbelief for that vow. Kane not get in the way? Yeah, and then pigs will fly to the moon, Manny thought. He knew that Kane would not get in the way with malicious intent. Trouble just followed Kane and his odd nature like a happy shadow. Well, I'm gonna go have me some fried eggs, Kane announced, and he was about to walk away, but Manny grabbed him by his broad shoulder. Kane, seriously, stay away from Isabel. You damn sure won't like it if you piss her off, Manny tried to assure Kane. The auburn-haired teen just shrugged his friend off, and Manny knew that Kane was probably going to get himself killed. It was just the type of person Kane was. When he got an idea in his head, no matter how bad or stupid it was, he had to go forth and get injured by it. Manny just sighed. Kane, she'll kill you if you grab her ass, Manny seemed to promise the short fellow. It'll be worth it, Kane replied with a delighted smile as he rubbed his hands together, as if he would welcome death if he got the chance to do as he desired. Manny sighed again and shook his head, knowing that he was wasting his time. He decided to leave Kane to get slaughtered. He was well aware that Kane would harass Isabel, no matter how much he warned the violet-eyed young man. He sighed again and went back to his own work while leaving Kane to his own devices. Maybe if Isabel didn't hurt Kane too much, they could all get the scene shot and be out of there before Kane got upset. Not that Manny had ever seen Kane really upset. It was just that he doubted that the 18-year-old would take kindly to being beaten up in his own home, even if a lovely lady was doing the beating. Kane yawned again and began scratching his head while lazily approaching Isabel. She was still fuming over the fact that she had been interrupted. Her slightly pale face was scrunched up from her fury. But all Kane could think was that she looked beautiful when she was angry. Her emerald eyes seemed to sparkle with energy. Sure, it was murderous energy, but it was still fascinating all the same. Oh, you must tempt fate, his mind ordered him. Isabel blew off some steam by hollering at the two actors that she was supposed to be designing the fight scene. They wisely took their scolding, having found out early on that replying to her when she went on a rant resulted in horrible pain, along with belittling and demeaning comments toward their manhood. So, the two grown men stood there like toddlers being reprimanded by an infuriated mother for having broken the rules of the house. And then, the admonishment suddenly stopped. Isabel squeaked like a mouse out of the blue, and her face twisted from fiery anger to unpleasant surprise before settling into homicidal indignation. She turned around on her heel, coming into a right hook punch, which landed right on the cheek of Kane. It was quite the wake-up call for him, as his teeth rattled in his skull. The sound of knuckles meeting bone connected through the large open hall, and everyone grimaced as the blow landed, crunching upon impact. Kane himself hardly made a sound when the punch connected, but he fell back almost a whole foot while holding his thoroughly injured cheek. He did not collapse to the ground, but his legs wobbled like an earthquake occurred directly underneath him as he rubbed his sore face. Oh, she is a dangerous one, he noted with an internal smile, which only intrigued him more. Are you fucking insane? Isabel screamed at the auburn-haired young man. He had just cupped her rear end as if it was his property. Is that a trick question? Kane countered with a shameless grin. To do so, he had to ignore the throbbing in his cheek. They both knew that he had to be out of his mind to do what he just did. What the fuck is this bum still doing here? Isabel demanded from whoever had an answer. Not that she would like the answer, considering the mood that she had worked herself into. Any response that did not involve throwing him out would undoubtedly just piss her off more, which was why no one chimed in. A bum, you say? Kane commented with an amused smile. Get the hell out of here before I throw you out, Isabel stated with a frown. He could tell that she meant those words from the furious look burning in her quite enchanting eyes. If her punch is any indication of her strength, she probably wouldn't have a problem throwing my little ass out. Still, he continued on being himself with her. You gonna throw me out of my own house, fella? Kane inquired with a bit of a pout, as if he was heartbroken to hear such a thing. The nickname came out just because she was beautiful, and he felt like he was speaking the cold-sword truth when calling her that. She did not take kindly to it, though. Your house? Bella? Isabel's face turned bright red in outrage by what she felt was a scandalous lie regarding his claim on the house. The fact that he was acting so casual and friendly with her only served to fuel her blazing anger. She didn't even know his name after all, and he had already taken all sorts of liberties with her. Isabel, long ago at the end of her patience, took another swing at Kane. It seemed like she was actually trying to take his head off with that one. The whole film crew grimaced before the hit even landed, appearing as if they had just witnessed the worst train accident of all time. They expected Kane would be down for the count when the blow finally did crash against his cranium, but found that they had reacted too soon. Kane did an amazing thing, something that everyone else would have thought was impossible. Kane caught Isabel's fist. You only get one, Bella, the tan male remarked with a proud, almost teasing smile. 1 sec, guys. Gotta do a body adjustment here. I'm sorry about that. Alright, where was I? Isabel was incredulous and embarrassed by the fact that a perverted bum had stopped her mood. She let loose a shrill scream in pure frustration, sounding like a dying bird while yanking her hand back. Manny decided to step in before Kane made Isabel explode, and she subsequently murdered Kane and maybe everyone else to vent her erupting temper. Manny swung his arm around Kane's shoulders and quickly walked the scene away from the stressed-out fight choreographer. "What about that breakfast you were trying to get?" Manny reminded Kane as he pulled the shorter male away from Isabel while she was too upset to have the presence of mind to tear them both apart like a hungry lioness. "Breakfast isn't all that important when you got girls like that in my house," Kane remarked with a lecherous grin, having the nerve to wiggle his dark red eyebrows while speaking.
Stop!
Cat.
Sorry, you can edit that out, right?
I can. Yeah. But I won't. Keep it raw. Everybody does. Anyway.
They act like they never eat, and it's like an hour before I gotta feed them, and yet they want me to feed them an hour ahead of time.
I know. Anyway. Look, Kane. Iz is having a tough time right now, so try not to bother her. She's got a lot to prove with this movie, and the actors aren't as confident as I promised her they would be. So she's really stressed and frustrated. Manny wasn't sure what he wanted to say, so he trailed off at the command that he was attempting to get out. "Be myself," Kane offered coolly. "Yeah, don't do that," Manny implored his friend, desperately begging from what the purple-eyed teen could hear in his voice. Kane laughed, not taking offense to the plea. He decided to go off and have his breakfast while Manny tried to gain some kind of control over his crew and the set. Isabel was still fuming, her stance tense and stiff as a marble statue, while on the inside she was feeling something that equaled to a solar storm. Everyone eyed her, just waiting for the flames of hell to radiate off of her and destroy them all. Manny sighed as he cautiously approached the furious teenager and hoped that she did not take her anger out on him. Silently, he told himself that he had to learn to stop working with his insane friends. "Isabel," Manny said in a calm, gentle tone. She turned sharply to stare poisonous daggers at him. He gulped, silently praying that he would not get the beating that had been intended for Kane. He would never survive such a thing. "Who the fuck was that?" Isabel demanded. Her hands were balled up into such tight fists that her manicured nails were biting into her flesh enough to draw blood. The pain was not even registering to her brain, because there was no room for anything in her mind aside from her stress, aggravation, and rising ire. "Let's just Kane go. He was supposed to be off mountain climbing for the next couple of weeks," Manny tried to explain. She growled. "So, what the hell is he doing here?" she inquired. She sounded like a furious dragon, a dragon that no one around would even try to think of slaying. "Oh, this is his house," Manny replied as if he was surprised that she didn't know, even though it wasn't common knowledge. Isabel blinked a couple of times and appeared taken aback by that, even though Kane had already expressed that the place was his home. She obviously had not believed him when Kane said it. Who could or would believe that a boy that looked like him could own a place like this frickin' castle? The house was like a palace, and Kane was, well, a bum from what she could tell. He looked like a hobo. Manny would describe Kane more as a vagabond, but the idea was still pretty much the same. "This is his house?" Isabel echoed in shock, her eyes narrowed in more suspicion than her being incredulous. "I wonder how he came across this place." "Yeah, this is his house." He wanted to help me out with my first movie, so he offered up his house for a lot of the scenes. Don't worry about Kane. He's harmless. Manny tried to assure Isabel. Harmless? He grabbed my ass! She pointed out with her eyebrows bent in defiance and rage that he would dare describe that filthy lecher as harmless. It didn't help matters that she had on shorts, so he grabbed meat, not cloth, when he groped her. Yeah, he's relatively harmless. He's a weird little guy, Mary said with a chuckle and a shrug as if that excused Kane's behavior. It more explained the short fellow than anything else. Well, keep your weird little guy the fuck away from me. He gets in my damn way again, I'm fucking beating his little leprechaun ass. The emerald-eyed female declared with clear sincerity. Manny shrugged again. He didn't care if Isabel cracked Kane's skull, really, because he didn't doubt Kane would deserve it, considering the fact that he had already been warned. Kane was tough anyway. If anybody could handle Isabel, it would be that crazy little guy, Manny figured. He did not want to leave it all on Kane, though, and decided to throw in the one thing he could say. Just try not to kill him. He's not only offering his house and a few other locations, but he did give up a nice amount of money for us to make this thing, Manny explained to Isabel. If Kane died, they would lose a lot of financing and might have to stop production. Not to mention, he would have to take time out of his life to attend the funeral for his friend. Oh, you're fucking kidding me, Isabel groaned into her hands up. I'm not being nice to that little snot, she vowed, pointing at Manny. There was no fucking way in hell that I'd ever be nice to someone that actually fucking violated me. I didn't say you had to be. Just don't kill him, Manny replied in a nonchalant voice, shrugging his narrow shoulders. Maybe spit on him if he's on fire or something, which with Kane could actually happen, but nothing beyond that. Isabel grumbled, but she did not make any promises. If she had to, she would take Kane down, snap him in half, and not lose a bit of sleep over it. No one just took liberties with her person and grabbed her ass as if it would go unpunished. She huffed to get it out of her system, and then turned to the idiots that Manny wanted her to believe were competent martial artists. They could barely perform a simple kick move. She was going to have to revamp her whole idea to make up for their shortcomings, to avoid looking like she had no clue as to what she was doing. She wished that they had the money to hire some stand-ins, considering the fact that she knew a number of people that would jump at such a deal. Alright. I'm going to have to do this one in sections because it's really super long. So I'm stopping there for today. Hopefully I'll get another one posted Saturday. Maybe. Don't count on it totally, but I will try my best. Alright. Thanks, guys. Bye!
Albina and Jerry arrive unaware of what Chef Ramsay is doing and what he has.
Why do I watch this one?
Prestige for 2 minutes.